Thank you for tuning back into Real Radical with Pastor James.
And Pastor Angela.
And we'd like to introduce our guest again, and this is Miss Jamie Porter. She's here with us, giving us the teen perspective. She's straight in college right now, and so we just thank God for having her back on with us again.
Thank you guys.
All right. We're going to change the subject here. We was talking about cutting earlier, but we want to change it to a conversation about teenagers and homosexuality. In this time and in this season, we're in the season where, people are having to make choices and decisions and say, you know what, I'm homosexual or I'm not. How do you feel about that with teens?
Society has painted this picture where what's right looks wrong, and what's wrong looks right.
Wow.
So in high school, I had my first encounter with a girl who looked like a male. I was inside the locker room. It was my 9th grade year. I had never been around that. I went to a Christian school, and that was unacceptable. The girl, she came inside the locker room. It looked like a guy, and so I started screaming like, "Coach, coach, coach! This is the guy in the locker room."
Wow.
And that was my first encounter with that situation. It was a shocking thing. I was never exposed to anything like that. And I always felt that it was wrong because I was always, my dad was a pastor and I always grew up in the church, so I was always taught that that's wrong, and that's not right. And so then, like in high school, like we had this, we had a project where we had to pick a topic, and this guy picked a topic, and he was talking about how homosexuality is wrong. And everybody inside the class, after he was done, booed him, except for me. I was like, bravo, that's awesome. He pulled out scriptures. He pulled out facts, everything, and they were still like, "That's wrong. You can't feel like that towards gays. Blah 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 blah. They're people." But in the end of the day, he was right. He said, "I'm strong in my faith, and I don't care what you guys say, but that's how I feel about it." And from that point on, I realized that you have to stand up for what's right, even though it looks wrong, and they try to make it wrong. You have to stand up for what you believe in.
Wow. I agree because when we look at, because society paints a picture, they have you look at reality TV, you look at all these shows, and they're saying, well, it's okay for, men to be with men, women to be with women, and it's okay for you to have your little family. And, that is an abomination before God. And so we have to stand strong in our faith, and it's not that we're condemning you or we are talking bad about you, but it's what the Word of God says about homosexuality. And so we really, as the church, have to come together, and we have to just stand strong and say, no, it's not right. Men are supposed to be with women, and women are supposed to be with men, and we are to procreate. Homosexuality is a plot of the enemy to stop procreation so that we cannot, because a man cannot procreate with another man. Neither can a woman procreate with another woman. So in order for the enemy to have victory, he has to stop us from being able to recreate our seed.
Wow. I totally agree. And society has painted this picture, and they make kids feel that it's okay to try out new things and go against their faith, and it's really not. I feel like a lot of kids, they experiment and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm gay," but they're just going with what society has painted. They're not stable enough in their own mindset to follow what's right and do what they know is right and what their parents have taught them that's right, what their grandparents have taught their parents. It's just, society is just changing everything, and it's making things just go crazy.
Right. I'm glad you said that. But we have our first caller on the line that actually has a question about this topic right here.
If a pastor has full knowledge of someone being gay and living a gay lifestyle, should he let that person be in a leadership role in any of the church's ministry?
So if a pastor has full knowledge that a person in the ministry is gay, should that person be allowed to be a leader in the church?
Well, that's a great question. I believe that, and what the word, not just what I believe, but what the Word of God says, a person cannot be living a homosexual lifestyle and be in charge of anything in the ministry, in the kingdom, not just in the church, but just being a leader, leading over, responsible for other souls. because you can't be in charge and then you're living a lifestyle saying that you are with a man and you're a man, or you're a woman and you're with a woman. I mean, it's totally against the very foundation of the Word of God.
Let me change it up like this. A sin's a sin's a sin.
Right.
I'm not going to say homosexuality, no, they can't be a leader. I'm not, because if you're homosexual, no, you can't be a leader. But if you're committing adultery, you can't be a leader. If I know you're an avid drug user, you can't be a leader. If I know the things that are going against God, no, you can't be a leader. So I'm not going to just say homosexuality. I'm going to call out every sin for what it is. And that's where we have to be careful and have to understand is you have to call it for what it is. It is a sin. And if you are committed, and the key part to the question was, if the pastor knows. That's the part we got to understand. That if you know a person is doing wrong, you have to call it for what it is. And no, they shouldn't be a leader. I don't care what sin it is. It's wrong, point blank. That's it. And that's in the conversation. Because what's happening is because we believe that that spirits can be transferred. And so now what you've done is open that door and saying, okay, allowing that spirit to be transferred to another person. Because all it is, when you start having peer pressure, when you start saying, you're having issues, well, and that gives the enemy a door to walk in. So I'm going to say no, yeah.
I totally agree. I totally agree with what you just said.
Yeah, I agree too, because a lot of times, like you were saying earlier, a lot of kids like, well, I'm bi now. I mean, you're bi. You don't even know what, you really don't know who you are. So how can you claim what you think you are? And so I think when we have people in the ministry, like you said, whether you're an adulterer, whether you're fornicating, whether you're lying, whatever your sin is, but when we allow these things to happen in ministry and we have people that are not strong in their faith, that are still struggling with who they are, we confuse them. And that's how you have so many bipolar Christians thinking it's okay to just go from one way to the other way.
And that's amazing because what we sit here and pastors and we talk to a lot of leaders on this show. We have a lot of leaders that call in and talk to us, and they send us questions in. And if you're a leader, you got to stand for something. You're going to stand for the Word of God, or you're going to stand for the Word. Which one you going to stand for? You got to stand for something. But we have a lot of leaders that go back and forth and they play the fence, and you can't do it. Either you're going to do what's right or you're going to do what's wrong. And if you're a leader and you're a child of God and you believe in the Word of God, you have to call it for what it is and say, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this. But just like the young lady, the lady that they put in jail, and they put her in jail this week, and they said, look, she said, I'm not going to issue marriage license. And so they locked her up. And she says, well, I guess I'm going to jail. And she's still in the jail in this moment. And I applaud her for it. But the question is, when are the rest of us going to stand up for what we believe in?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the question, because God is going to bless her for that. People are talking about it, they're going to be mad at her. She said, you know what? That's fine. But I'm still going to believe in God because my God has done so much for me. But when the rest of us are going to stand up and say, right is right, wrong is wrong.
Right. My grandfather always taught me that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yes.
So when you believe in something, you have to stand on it, no matter what the backlash, what the back talk, all that stuff is going to come with it, because you are going to be talked about because you're going against the grain.
Right.
Anything that you do that's going to be ordinary, you're going to get talked about. If you don't try to fall into the bandwagon and just jump on everybody's bandwagon and be like them, you're going to definitely be looked at as different or weird, or you're going to be talked about. So that's something that you have to always consider when you're going against what everybody else is saying. And this is definitely one of those topics. Everybody else is jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, it's legal, so I might as well do it. No, I stand by God's rules.
Right.
Society's rules can change. God's rules never change.
They're never unchanging.
That's right, unchanged. What we're going to do is go to another commercial break. So just stay tuned with us. We'll be right back with Real Radical and Raw Show. Thank you very much, Ms. Jamie Pointer.